Every evening, the same scene unfolded. Sue, draped in the armor of her achievements, standing tall as I sank lower into my chair. "You know, if you actually put in half the effort I do, maybe you wouldn't be in the position you're in," she would say, her voice sharp enough to cut through the air. That tone twisted my stomach, like a vice grip, squeezing the breath out of me. I began to brace myself for the next wave of criticism, ready to swallow my pride while our daughter, Maya, watched in silence. It wasn't always like this. When we first married, I admired Sue's ambition. Her dreams felt like wings that lifted us both. But somewhere along the path, her drive turned into control, and I became a shadow of my former self. Becoming assistant head teacher wasn't just a title. It served as a banner to her relentless pursuit of perfection, one that I was no longer allowed to be a part of. Now, when I tried to share my views, hoping to reclaim a fragment of our partnership, she'd counter with dismissals and accusations. "You need to stop seeking validation from others." The sleepless nights became my constant companions, haunted by whispers of inadequacy and shame. With each argument, my heart sank further into an abyss of anxiety where self-worth ceased to exist. My back pain throbbed like a cruel reminder of my stress, tightening with every thought that spiraled through my mind. I felt the fabric of my being tearing apart, energy sapped, mood plummeting, intimacy washed away. I lost my job due to long sick leaves that felt less like a choice and more like survival. Defeated, I sought help. The small, sterile room felt like surrender, and as the doctor spoke, a mix of verbal warmth and clinical detachment, I clutched the prescription for antidepressants, feeling both relief and despair. Every pill came with the weight of hopelessness, marking the walls of a life I no longer recognized. But what came next was the beginning of my unexpected shift: physiotherapy. I hated the thought of physical therapy, but as soon as I met Natasha, everything changed. Just 25, with a smile that felt like sunshine slicing through clouds, she had this infectious enthusiasm that lit up the room. My body ached, yet every session with her sparked something deeper, a connection forged through shared stories and gentle laughter. For the first time in a long while, joy teased my spirit, and every exercise turned into a playful exchange that I desperately craved. As days turned into weeks, the atmosphere shifted. Natasha encouraged me to engage more actively in my recovery, pushing me out of my shell. "You have a spirit worth fighting for, Dan," she said one day, brushing her fingers lightly along my arm. That touch ignited something dormant within me, a scorching ember that flared to life, contrasting sharply with the coldness of my home life. I found myself laughing again, the sound almost foreign but achingly sweet. One crisp afternoon, we shared coffee at a cafe after therapy. As the sun blessed my skin, I felt a flutter of something I hadn't dared to dream of in years: attraction. Natasha's laughter wrapped around me, and for the first time, I felt desired, seen. Yet, the guilt clung to me like a heavy weight. Was it right to feel this way? Every stolen glance felt like a betrayal to my marriage, but I could no longer silence the yearning that pulsed through my veins. In the quiet moments, I confronted the shards of my life. I saw a man who had allowed his identity to be suppressed, reduced to the whispers of someone else's expectations. Staring into the mirror, the reflection gazed back, a weary soul weighed down by regret. The thought of Natasha stirred a medley of emotions: fear, excitement, guilt, but beneath it all, the flicker of a new dawn pulsed in my chest. I had to choose: remain in this fog of despair or reclaim my life. Finally, I broached the subject with Sue. We sat across from each other at the kitchen table, a gaping chasm where once laughter resided. Her arms were crossed, an impenetrable wall, and my heart raced as I laid bare my struggles. I'm tired of living like this, Sue. I need support, not belittlement. The conversation spiraled into flames, revealing the ugly truths we had both ignored for too long. As I stepped outside, the sun dipping below the horizon promised a fresh start, and a newfound confidence surged through me. Whether Natasha was a fleeting chapter or a deeper journey yet to unfold, I knew I had to embrace my power, the power to choose, to heal, and to love myself again. It was time to chase my own happiness, one step at a time, toward a life that didn't feel dictated by fear. With newfound confidence coursing through my veins, I entered Natasha's physiotherapy office, a mix of excitement and nervousness swirling within me. Today felt different, almost electric. Her smile greeted me like a ray of sunlight, and the way she looked at me made my heart race. I could feel the shift in the air, as if the universe was conspiring to pull us closer. As Natasha guided me through my warm-up exercises, her body brushed against mine, igniting a wildfire of sensation I hadn't felt in years. With every movement, she unraveled me like a tightly wound coil, unwinding layers of pain and the weight of my previous life. The worries of my marriage faded, replaced by a magnetic pull toward this woman who made me feel alive. My breath hitched, and I could see her gaze lingering, a reflection of the desire swirling between us. Suddenly, the tension in the office crackled like electricity. Natasha stepped in closer, her fingers brushing against my hair as she whispered, "You're making great progress, Dan." The warmth of her touch sent shivers down my spine, and our eyes locked, two souls seeking solace in one another. In that moment, I felt the fabric of my reality tear, revealing a world where I could be more than a shadow of my former self. The air between us thickened, a heady mix of longing and hesitation. With a newfound daring, I leaned closer, my heart pounding in my chest. "Natasha," I began, but the words stuck in my throat as she closed the distance, wrapping her arms around me in a warm embrace. At that moment, all sense of propriety vanished. Time stood still as we both shattered, succumbing to the desire we had tried to ignore. Our secret affair began in whispers and stolen moments, each interaction steeped in an intoxicating thrill. I felt alive, cherished, and free from the burdens of my marriage. Zipping through life under the shadow of cautious desire, I met her at dimly lit cafes, our conversations flowing like wine, filled with laughter and desires unspoken. Every stolen kiss tasted of rebellion, a bitter sweetness that reminded me of everything I had suppressed for too long. As our affair deepened, so did the urgency for a fresh start. One rainy afternoon, as we sat huddled in her office, Natasha's eyes sparkled with excitement as she suggested, "What if we just left? Paris awaits us." The thought consumed me. Its allure was both terrifying and exhilarating. Leaving everything behind for her felt like diving into an abyss, yet I couldn't deny the lifeline she represented. With a swift breath, I dialed Sue's number, my heart hammering in my chest. As the phone rang, I thought of our life together, the memories, the pain, the unending cycle of blame. When Sue answered, the coldness in her voice felt like a shackle slowly tightening around my heart. "Dan?" she asked, and I steadied myself. "We need to talk. I can't do this anymore. I want a divorce." Each word trembled with finality, an unshackling of my soul. As we stepped off the train in Paris, the air felt electric and alive with promise. I gazed at Natasha, and in her eyes, I saw endless possibilities. We strolled hand in hand down cobblestone streets, the Eiffel Tower glimmering in the distance, a symbol of both our escape and the new life ahead. Every laughter echoed against the backdrop of a fresh start, a world where the shadows of my past no longer loomed. That evening, seated at a cozy cafe, it dawned on me. This was more than just a getaway. It was a rebirth. The warmth of Natasha's hand in mine felt like home. Each bite of sweet pastry a celebration of the risks we had taken. As we shared our dreams, I realized how much I had longed for this moment, to embrace love without fear. This was our canvas, and we were ready to paint it boldly. As we stood on the balcony that night, overlooking the shimmering lights of Paris, I felt as if I was finally breaking free. My heart soared with the sense of adventure, unburdened by the past and infused with hope for the future. Whatever awaited us, I no longer feared it. I had chosen love, chosen life, and chosen to shatter the chains that had held me captive for too long.